Hello everyone. Welcome to Vyapar Jagat Talk Show. I'm Nisargi Shah, NLP trainer, and today at our talk show we are having esteemed honored guest Mr. Samir J Shah sir, partner at JBS Groups of Companies. He is one of the leading, inspiring, iconic person of logistic field. Yes. What I can say about him is that he is an amazing personality. He's a mentor, he's a teacher, he is giving the fruits, he is sharing his fruits to the next generation, coming generation. He's into logistics and EXIM logistics, export import logistics, shipping, air cargoes, transportation, and custom clearance also. There are many more things. If I keep on sharing, there will be lots of things, and video will end with that. But yes, of course, today we are going to talk about learning of Samir J Shah sir, of his whole life. He's going to share us his success story, talk about himself, how he has been through his career, what is that inspiring, sparkling story of his. And for that, I don't want to say anything. Let's talk to Samir J Shah sir and let's welcome him. We are going to talk about his journey. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
We have learned from different media, different social LinkedIn, from different where about yourself, like what you are. But we would like to listen from your mouth, your words, in your way. What is your? I can say that iconic person, Mr. Samir J Shah.
I do not know whether I qualify for being an iconic person. I am just somebody who likes to work very hard because talent doesn't work hard, but hard work begets talent. So the harder you work, the more talented can you become. Even if you are talented and you don't put in hard work, that talent is of no value. I was just a normal student when I was studying. Of course, I was in the upper bracket, not the top bracket, and I was very fortunate to spend my schooling and college days participating in innumerable events, learning innumerable things, and exposing myself to a lot of different things. To give you an idea, I've done movies, I've done drama, I've done television, I've done dance, I've learned horse riding, I've done practically any and everything that was available for training in the 70s and the early 80s. So that is what is how I started my career. I belong to a family of logisticians. So it was a natural thing for me to join the family business. The only condition put on me by my father and my brother was that you are here because of your birth, but you will stick here because of your ability and your work. So you need to prove yourself. And that propelled me into making that extra effort. And I learned very early that if I knew the answer to the question why for everything, rather than learning how and what and when and who, because the why doesn't change, the other things change.
Okay.
So my effort has always been to understand the why. That why is there a regulation, why is there export import, why a particular process, why a particular documentation. Whereas most people in the logistics sector want to learn how to prepare the paper, want to learn how to process the paper, or how to whom to go to process it. Whereas I've always believed that one has to learn why. And the second thing that has driven me, which of course is quite irritating for a lot of people close to me, is that I want to learn from everyone. I'm very good at observing people, and I would observe everybody, and I would like to learn from everybody. And it would be very natural for me to stop a stranger on the road and start talking to the person, irrespective of whether he's in a Mercedes or he's walking on the streets. what are you doing? Why are you doing it like this? And if I feel somebody can do his work marginally better, I wouldn't shy away from going and telling him that, why are you doing it like this? Think of doing it like this.
Yes.
And I'm always told by my family, "Ki one day somebody is going to bash you up for this. You don't need to interfere in everyone's work, and you don't need to desperately learn from everybody." So I think that would be who I am.
Right. That's amazing. That's that's really very amazing to know that there is someone who is leading wants to know that why I am here, why I am doing this, rather asking about how, or rather asking about the procedures, rather asking about the manuals, or just for doing for the sake of doing on getting earning money. So that would be a really very interesting part, that knowing why is very important for
I
you.
would rather write the manual than follow the manual.
Of course.
Ah.
When you are asking for a why, then you're definitely going to write a manual, and that's what you are into, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's an amazing to know about your journey. So one thing which popped up when you were talking to me on sharing your journey, that was what was that sparkling moment, that very moment that you have decided that yes, I'm here now. Because as into the family, I have seen that youngsters, young जो बच्चा होता है वो हमेशा बोलता है कि मैं क्यों. So that what was that sparkling yes that you must have initiated, and what made you grounded at that point of time to
No,
to
I
make
think-
such an
I think I was just ambitious, I was just plain and simple ambitious. That whenever, as I was growing, I had an opportunity of meeting so many people, politicians, bureaucrats, doctors, lawyers, leading citizens of Mumbai city and other parts of the country, meeting celebrities. And I would always wonder, why am I meeting these people? When will a stage come when people will come and meet me?
okay.
So that was my starting, that what do I do so that people meet me. It is a separate thing that I entered an industry which is grossly misunderstood, which is grossly underrated. So even when I shifted to Ahmedabad around 32 years back, from day one I used to participate in Chamber of Commerces and other events, and people would wonder and often ask me, "Ki, you're not needed over here." And I would say, why am I not needed over here? I am needed, and I will show you why I am needed over here. So I think it was always that what should I use the word? That desire that people should recognize me, people should know about me, people should talk about me, and what else can I leave behind when I go back?
Legacy.
I can only leave a legacy, and my legacy would rather be that I created so many people who can in turn look after so many people, rather than just create a legacy which runs into a couple of zeros, which I leave for my daughters and I go away. So that was never the driver for me.
That's an amazing to know that part. Yes, when you were sharing your journey, the second question which comes to my mind, pops to my mind, and which gives me an giving it second thought. Has you shared about your journey towards your feelings, or rather your what you felt at but can you share something professionally, how you were pleased and how you worked, something which was marking you, putting you at that point of time to
Yeah, I've had two, three very
we can say it as,
defining. I've had
achieving
two, three. Yeah, I've had two, three very defining experiences, and fortunately, they all happened with me more than 30 years back or 35 years back. One was, I work in a space which originally used to be known as custom clearance.
okay.
And everyone feels custom clearance is an area where your skill is to be able to give money to people and get the work done. And it always occurred to me that why should one give money, and why is he
Yes.
asking for money? And in those days I had a good opportunity of meeting one gentleman very senior in the hierarchy of Indian customs called Mr. Tiwari, and he asked me to do something which didn't agree with me, and I said, no, I will not do it. And he was obviously very angry on me, But to his credit, he accepted it, he cooled down, and then he told me that, look, you can't refuse like this. If you want to be able to refuse, you should know why you are refusing. You should know that if you refuse, what are the consequences of your refusal. So please learn that. Don't just refuse and stop at that. So that was the starting point where I realized that it's very important to have the correct domain knowledge and also the ability to implement that domain knowledge by understanding the macro thinking of the government rather than only working on micro issues. So that was one defining experience of mine. Another defining experience of mine was once I had the opportunity of interacting with somebody really high up in the bureaucracy, and he asked me that can we have a meal together, and I was like, yeah, we can have a meal together. And I had a meal with him, and then on the next day he's asking me that this is not the way you have a meal with a bureaucrat. There are certain systems, there are certain protocols with which you have a meal with a senior bureaucrat. And I was like, I thought it was you and me who were going to have a meal together.
Right.
And at that point in time, he made a very important statement to me. He says, I have no complaints against you. And why do I not have any complaints against you? Because one, you were respectable.
Right.
Two, you treated me at par with yourself. Now, bureaucrats are rarely treated as at par with the civilians. The civilians always want to put them at a pedestal. And he said that that actually makes us very uncomfortable.
Very true.
So we would rather deal with people who understand that where to draw a line, what are the areas they cannot cross, should not cross, and remain respectable so that we in turn can be respectable towards them, because even we would like to be respectable to people. Now, this you must appreciate happened in the 80s when the Indian bureaucracy was very different than what it is today. So these became very defining experiences. I've had 3, 4 such experiences which were very defining for me.
Awesome. That's really very mind-boggling, because at some point of time that experiences make us think on that point and creates an awareness. But when we share to the people about this kind of stories, like that gives a boost up that yes, they are also right. Some, because this kind of stories or these ideas or this concept of meeting and thinking, people this generation is somewhere being very afraid of doing all those things. They are at some point of time very very bold, but yeah, they are not having experience, they only have the information. So that's amazing that you are sharing that thing to this young generation, those who are listening. So that's an amazing, yes. Why while we are talking on all this, that's around about 70 years I have seen this industry coming up slowly and steady, and we are in this field since last 4 decades. That's a 40 years. And how you see the change, right now there is a digitalization is going on, AI is coming, Meta is coming, and they are coming up, and there are some people, those who are in this industry before this, and the next generation is coming. How you see this collaboration going to work, or how you see this thing?
See, you must appreciate that I started working pre-liberalization in India.
Okay.
So I have seen the stranglehold that the government had on the manufacturing segment, on the exporting segment, on the importing segment. And then I have worked in the post-liberalized era when they changed the way they think. And now I have the good opportunity of working in the digital era. And now also possibly with the artificial intelligence coming in. But what remains standard and constant? What remains standard and constant is the sovereignty of your country, the safety and the security of your nation. And sovereignty, safety, and security can be met by only compliance. So, as long as the service providers are compliant, as long as the importers and the exporters are compliant, that is, they understand the law, they follow the law, they implement it not only by the letter but also by spirit, the system works. And what I notice in all the 4 or 5 eras that have taken place during my 40 years is that sovereignty, safety, security, and compliance never took a backseat. And now the whole issue is that how do we ensure quick movement of international cargo? How do we ensure a multiple growth in the volumes of the international cargo and hold on to the sovereignty, safety, security through the compliance model? So the AI and the digital era is actually going to help us grow. It is, yes, something which is putting a lot of burden on the service providers, because suddenly the service providers have to learn and implement much more than they ever did. So, yes, I think it's been a wonderful journey of mine, but the future is going to be much more interesting, much more enterprising, and challenging. And I often like to say this, that I feel a bit bad that, and I hope that I should have been born 25, 30 years later so that I can get an opportunity to work when India is going to experience the good times.
Yes.
The future does belong to India, at least for the next century or so. And people of my generation did work to bring it to this level, but we may not enjoy the fruits of it.
Yeah, it's like a
But
mango
then,
tree.
but then, for a person who works on the why and the strategy, I have always been guided that when you work to create something, you have to learn to create it beyond your lifestyle. If you are creating something which is going to get over in your lifetime, there's no point in creating it. So, to be able to have a vision which will be carried forward by other people after you are gone is the more important and the need of the hour.
Yes, and that's the experience, that's the knowledge. Yeah, of course, they have lots of information, they have lots of knowledge through the internet, but they don't know right kind of knowledge or right path or right way to decide what to move ahead. And yes, of course, that's what you are giving a platform to all these people over here. But yeah, of course, I say that's what you are implanting is the mango tree. I call it that as a mango tree always, because the fruits are always going to be next generation or after 10 years or 15 years. But yeah, of course, this AI and Meta, which is coming up and that is changing a lot. So yeah, efforts are there definitely, because everything is new platform is there and it's making difference. But yeah, what you shared right now is not that glamorous picture of AI which is there in the front of the common people, layman, like I can say. They don't have that idea, but yeah, that's what is the real picture. It's an amazing part of it. And that's I am also thinking on it that someone is talking about that core part of the system.
I'm a non-technical person also. A non-technical person who's talking about the future of how technology will affect non-technical people.
See, right now, the demand of people, I'm just sharing out of the box because just for a moment, because nowadays it's not only AI that's the people, those who are from this field will be employed or will be working on it. There will be the people from each and every field. Like if it's a doctor and AI has been created, then doctors has to be there. That there is no other option, because unless they are present won't make a difference. So that's what you are making a difference, that you are putting that the point into it. Yes. So my next question comes to you, which is that what is that strategy, what is that idea you would like to give to this young generation, those who are coming into it, this field, or what is that caution they have to take care? There are three things different. I'm asking, that strategy, what is an idea behind it, and what is that one caution they need to understand before entering into this field. That's the thing that you have to do it.
See, I look at logistics as a service industry.
Right.
What is the definition of service? The definition of service, according to me, is to do work of somebody else which he can do on his own.
Right.
So that would be my definition of service. Helping somebody do something which he can do on his own. So the first thing is I am dispensable. Because if I don't do it, he'll do it on his own.
Right.
So I need to recognize that I am dispensable. And then my effort has to be in becoming indispensable.
Right.
Now, how do I become indispensable?
Okay.
I become indispensable, one, principally by working not to his satisfaction
Hmm.
or not to his delight, as everyone want to put it, but to work to my satisfaction and my delight. Because I will always want everyone to put higher standards on themselves than they would put on others. So if I am satisfied with the work I am doing, I don't think I'm going to give anyone a complaint, a cause of complaint or a reason to complain against me. So the issue is that work to your own satisfaction. So when you work to your own satisfaction, the others are going to be satisfied.
Definitely.
That is the second thing. And the third thing is what is even our company statement, which is success is an inspiration,
Okay.
failure is an experience.
Definitely.
So anytime you do something small, big, large, medium, and you find a success in it, use that as an inspiration to keep on repeating it.
Okay.
And anytime you see a failure, small, medium, large, and we've seen large amount of failures in these 60 odd years of our company, but take every failure as an experience, learn something out of it,
Right.
don't go back but go in front. That yes, I learnt my lesson and these are the things I will not be doing now. So my message to the younger generation would be always that first of all recognize that you are dispensable
Right.
and your effort has to be to make yourself indispensable rather than thinking what a lot of young people think, what is he going to do without me, let him go elsewhere and see he will come to know my value. This is what we hear regularly in the service segment.
Right.
But we must recognize that we are dispensable people.
Yes.
Our effort has to be to make us indispensable. And to do that, I have to work to my satisfaction by
Right.
keeping my standards very high.
Right.
And then look at every small step
Right.
either as an inspiration or as an experience. So
But-
this is what I would.
How would you place the competition in this?
What is competition? I've never understood.
Yes.
Let me explain you. I've never understood the word competition
Yes.
for the simple reason that everyone is going to work for himself.
Right.
Everyone is going to work for his own enterprise.
Right.
Everyone is going to work for the betterment of his company and his staff and his team members.
Right.
Right? Now, people who are all working in the same space is
Right.
what you are using the word as competitors. Because we are all vying and targeting for the same
Audience.
cake
Yeah.
and we want to take a bigger portion of the cake.
Right.
Why should I worry about them? I have to only think, how do I better myself?
Right.
How do I find ways and
Yes.
means of remaining a step ahead of them? I remember many years back going to Amul where they had a whole wall which read as competitor campaigns. And I had a meeting with their then managing director and he showed it to me. I was a very young person at that time and there were other people with me and they found it, oh wow, what a great idea. And I remember thinking even at that time, why competitor campaigns? Why should I worry about what they are doing? I have to hold the ability to understand my segment. I need to hold the ability to understand my way of thinking. I need to constantly work in building up more capabilities, in building up more capacities, and offering things which others will copy.
Right.
The idea is that I don't look at them as competition. I look at them as other people
Yes.
in the same segment offering
Yes.
the same services, and how do I work that I'm a step ahead of them.
Yes.
So that is how I would look at competition.
What is that key of it? Can we give that key to everyone?
The key still remains the same, that you work to better yourself. Keep on
Absolutely.
pushing yourself rather than pulling down a competitor. See,
Yes.
the moment we use the word competitor, we are at some level bringing in a duel or a war or a disagreement somewhere.
Yes.
Why should I work to bringing him down? Why should I gossip about him? Why should I badmouth him? Why should I talk about him with other people? I would rather only appreciate him. I would rather praise him, or worse comes to worse, just ignore him.
Right. That's what I want to give a message, because you completed whole frame, and that's really amazing, because this is the thing which I always keep on saying everyone, each and every person, sir, कि हमेशा खेलो तो गेम गोल्फ की तरह खेलो. That's the king of all. Play you and your do a business, because in a golf there is a rule that one, there is a competition. Sorry, using a wrong word, wrong frame. There is one marking which is happening between the other person and the person, and the second part of marking is the one game with their own self, the last game they played and the current game. So that gives the person more empowering, enriching their thoughts, their working abilities, and their capabilities. That's an amazing thing, sir. Thank you very much for that point. Friends, definitely follow this. This is an amazing thing which everyone needs to learn. Nowadays, sir, we are talking about lots of startups coming up. Lots of people are there. Those who are coming into this field, because I have also seen that eventually in last 5 years, the ratio has been changing. More than 15 to 20% people are joining in this industry. I would like to ask that there are two kind of people. There are startup, there are entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and the people, those who are joining as an staff or associate. So what is that piece of advice we'd like to give, or something which we'd like to give them that can create a difference in their journey? Because your experience can make an amazing difference to other people's life, and that's the thing which people are looking towards you.
See, first of all, we must recognize that every company, every enterprise, at some point of time was a startup.
Absolutely, sir.
So, startup is not something new. Startup is something which has always happened. The first time I set up an enterprise, I'm a startup.
Yes.
It's only in the recent years that the government policies have said that we'd like to promote new enterprise, we'd like to support new people. Suddenly, across the world, people are having spare money and they are interested in investing in other people's businesses rather than investing only in their own businesses. So we've got this whole new so-called ecosystem set up for
Yes.
startups.
Yes.
So startups have always been there.
Yes.
Even if I am second generation, I think I am also a startup as a second generation, because I come in with new ideas. I come in at a different point in history than when my company started.
Right.
So in my own case, if I compare it, the conditions in 1957 were way different than the conditions in the early 80s when I joined. So there were different times of history. The whole ecosystem was different, the way of thinking was different, the education was different, the requirement of the industry was different. So any person joining in at any point in time is always a startup.
Okay.
The principles of succeeding would remain the same. And what would be the principles of succeeding in equal order, not in 1, 2, 3, 4, but in equal order? The first would be honesty. I think you need to be very honest to your profession, to what you are doing. You need to be honest to your stakeholders, which may be your employees, which may be your clients, it may be your vendors, it may be anybody else. So you need, the first would be honesty. Then would be a very good domain knowledge on
Right.
whatever segment you are working. You have to
have that
have
knowledge.
good domain knowledge. You cannot be a startup entrepreneur on somebody else's domain knowledge. It has to
Right.
be your own domain knowledge. That would be the next thing. Third would be that you have to work hard. What is work hard is for each person to decide, because each industry would have a different requirement, each segment would have a different requirement. Somebody may say I'm working only 4 hours a day, somebody may say I'm working 15 hours a day, but a person working 4 hours need not necessarily not be working hard, and a person working 15 hours need not necessarily be working hard. So hard work by your definition, hard work by the definition of the segment in which you are.
Yes.
And then comes vision. You have to be able to think that I'm creating something which will survive.
Right.
It is not just getting in, earning a lot of money and getting out. That would not be a startup.
Right.
Then that is something different. You're just doing something very different by taking shelter under the name startup. And lastly, it would be a consistency. You have to remain consistent.
That's
You will see success, you will see failure, you will see mediocrity, you will see excellence, but you have to be consistent in whatever you are doing.
That's an amazing thing, because discipline and consistency work together, and I always believe in that has to be there. Yeah, of course, what you said about the startup, yeah, I also agree somewhere that even in back in 50s or 60s or 70s, we were having lots of startups, but that time this word was not popped up, and people have never thought of it. But yeah, of course, I would add on something to all on this. That was, nowadays the young generation on their own, they have started, as they don't have much funds, but they have lots of idea, and they are coming up in a startup with their lots of new idea, and that's how the startup word came to the picture. Yes, of course, sir, what you said was absolutely right, and that's best part of it, which I always believe that कभी भी काम hardship के बगैर नहीं होता. You have to work hard on it. Whether it is a smart work also has to be hard. It cannot be smart work like मोबाइल पे डाल दिया, इस पे डाल दिया, नोट कर दिया. At some point of time, you have to pen down, you have to write down, you have to note down, you have to record it, you have to put it somewhere, and that's only gives you an long-term answers for that. So that definitely come with the discipline. So that's an amazing journey, sir, which we are doing. But yes, while we are talking about, we had a word that JBS Academy. So what is that? Why it is there?
Before I go to JBS Academy, I remember being asked this question very often, that what do you want to be remembered for?
Acha.
And I always gave it a thought that what would I like to be remembered for? And then I realized that what am I being remembered for is the word legacy.
Yes.
So why can I not live my legacy? Why does my legacy have to come after my demise? So I developed a model. I had the good opportunity of doing a TEDx talk and many other talks on
Awesome.
living your legacy. And I said that what do I have best according to me? What I have best according to me is a certain amount of domain knowledge,
Right.
is a certain amount of ability to share my knowledge. And by sharing my knowledge, what am I doing? I'm creating multiple Samir J Shahs. They may be better than me, which would make me very happy. They may compete with me, which will make me work harder and better. Or they may go out and grow the industry from which I have got so much.
Yes.
So the whole thought process was that how do I live my legacy? And my legacy is my ability to share whatever knowledge I have. Now, how do I share my knowledge? I can't stop somebody on the streets and say, hey, listen to me, I want to talk to you.
True.
So I said, let me structure it. Let me create a platform.
Right.
So the platform that was created is called the JBS Academy. And our endeavor at the JBS Academy is to give as much domain knowledge in as simple a manner, in as small modules as possible, in as many languages as possible, to the present and the future generation of logisticians, not only in India but world over.
It's amazing.
So to achieve that, we have one classroom training, we have on live learning, that is the virtual conferences that we do. We are a college under the Kaushalya Skill University where we offer a BBA in logistics and a postgraduate diploma in custom clearance and freight forwarding, and another postgraduate diploma in international business. We run short programs of 2 hours, 8 hours, 16 hours, 40 hours, 120 hours, 180 hours, which are necessarily done before office hours or after office hours or on weekends. Then we also do similar in-house trainings for other logistic companies, which we recommend that they should do it during office hours. In addition to this, we have over 45 publications, books that we have published in this area of EXIM Logistics, port management, railways, and warehousing, and international business. So we have about 45 publications, and we endeavor to bring out about 5 to 10 publications every year. The effort is to make it simple, write in very simple language, and create ready reckoners which are available to practitioners on their table. The next initiative that we have is we have a very vibrant YouTube channel which has clocked in about 11,000 subscribers with near nil marketing, because we are giving very good domain knowledge in a capsule format. Small capsules of 8 minutes, 9 minutes. We are putting in about 1 to 4 videos every week. We have, I think, already crossed about 520 videos on our YouTube channel in more than 8 or 9 Indian languages. And lastly, we have just come out with a self-learning portal called the logiveda.com, where a person can just log in from his computer or his phone from anywhere, pay us some very nominal fees, and do programs to help his growth in the logistics sector. Along with this, we recognize that giving domain knowledge itself is insufficient. We also need to work on the individual, because who walks into a potential client's office, or who picks up the phone of a potential business or an existing business, is the individual. And it's only if the person relates to the individual will he go to the domain section. But if he does not relate to the individual, he might just snap the conversation there only.
Yes.
So we are working very hard, especially on the youth, to give them more and more skills, which generally use the term soft skills, but we are primarily giving them skills to help them engage with people, to help them understand the macro, and to execute the micro.
Awesome, sir. That's why that was my second question. That how can people approach you for all this? That's an amazing thing which you have put it down. That 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I was just thinking that would be a question, but no, you have covered all the points. Because at the last, I was about to come on that point that if someone is stuck down at that place or there, but you covered all the things, and that's an amazing, that kind of academy at a micro level, coming
Thank
and
you so
teaching
much.
people is an incredible.
Yeah, to answer your question, we have www.jbsacademy.com, where people can get everything over there. Then we have the YouTube channel which is called JBS Academy. Then we have the live learning portal which is www.logiveda.com. And for the college, you have to go to the kaushalyaskilluniversity.org and go into logistics, and you will reach over here.
Awesome, sir. That's an amazing journey we are talking about. That you are leaving behind a legacy for this young generation, those whom you are not going to see anymore, right? When they are growing. But yeah, of course, there will be a name, Mr. Samir J Shah, in their mind that there
No,
was.
but
someone-
you must remember one thing, that JBS Academy is JBS Academy. If you look at any of our programs,
Right,
okay, I do not take more than 5 or 7% of the classes.
right,
I ensure that more than 90% of the classes are taken by other professionals, because the idea was never to create a Samir J Shah training center. The idea was never to create an icon called Samir J Shah. The idea was to create JBS Academy, which will survive the lifetime of its founder.
but I was supposed to say something else. Like everything has start with a seed, and you have
Yes.
just put it. In spiritual language, it has been said that बीज मंत्र है. आपने सबको बीज मंत्र दे दिया, and everyone is going to grow with that mantra, right? So that mantra I am calling is that in Samir J Shah. That academy, so definitely it's going to be with many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you are.
And I'm
giving
very
me.
grateful and thankful to all the 20 odd professionals who are coming and teaching
Yes.
over here, writing books for us, creating videos for us, creating content for us. So I do hope that we can reach out to much more people and help them.
So, sir, thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
opportunity to meet you and such an insightful about what we can do more as I'm looking towards, like what many things I can do still. And of course, everyone whosoever is listening, watching this video can also learn lots of things from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Ashish.
and for taking out the time, and my best wishes to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
For detailed learning of all logistics subjects, visit www.logiveda.com.